Divide your life into nights, each night a slice. It's time to go, it's time to go. Outside the cold, she's waiting.
We still are perceived as the kind of graphic design studio that focuses within the cultural sector, but that is changing. I mean, we are evolving, our what client base is evolving.
Outside the cold, she's waiting. And all this speeding up, I still haven't seen enough. A moment of fleeting trust, a fistful of teenage lust.
We started APFEL in 2003. We met at the Royal College in 2001.
It was great to meet another person that was equally as passionate about contemporary art, and we loved the same artists, and it was great to be able to share that with somebody.
Both me and Emma just couldn't see ourselves working for anyone else.
We couldn't find a studio really that we felt a real affinity with to work with. We were always really determined to do something independent. I think both of us felt that individually, and it was great to sort of have a sense of that together.
Like, we split all the responsibilities of running the business. What's really great is that we both brought a very different angle to design. We never wanted to be an artist ourselves, but it was very interesting working with artists on their ideas and I suppose culture in a general term, but I think that was what drew us together, is our kind of loves and passions of things. We've never approached a client, so in that sense, incredibly privileged. I mean, we've never actively gone to find work, which is quite rare, and I think it's really, it symbolises what we've achieved, I think. So our big breakthrough was working for the ICA, the Institute of Contemporary Arts.
It was funny on the opening night when we met Jens Hoffmann.
The then director of exhibitions, at one of his first shows, he'd just moved from Germany. And he had done the graphics himself for the show. He
was standing there talking about the titles on the walls and what we thought of these, and Kirsty and I gave our very sort of honest critique of looking at a wall of text that was all in uppercase.
We gave him a little crit, not realising he had done it.
And he asked us to come in for an interview actually the next week.
The first job we did with them was Beck's Futures.
And that was an amazing opportunity to kind of take some of our work out of being print and to be able to work on a whole environment. So working on everything from how the exhibition would look and feel to the publication, the adverts, the invites. So
after the ICA, we worked a lot with the Tate for many years. We did the Tate Guide,
the
Turner Prize. We've done all the identity for the Turner Prize for the last 3 or 4 years.
The sun, the
I mean, it's very team. We're a big team, and we discuss and collaborate on ideas. And I mean, it's usually one person has to lead the job, because just for the client's sake more than anything, they need one port of contact. So I remember we all enjoy the relationship we have with clients. We build quite a strong relationship with them, because obviously they're often artists or curators or writers.
outside the cold, she's waiting, young as a robin.
Well, we both live East London, and the hours we were working at the beginning were insane, so we had to have somewhere quite local.
When we first moved into the studio here, it was really like a no man's land. Actually, there was an estate there that used to get kind of things thrown out of the window when we first moved here, but now it's all quite lovely and civilised.
It's a very peaceful studio space. There's not a lot of noise going on. There's lots of people around us, similar creative industries. I suppose one key thing why we wanted a meeting room full of our work like this is we wanted a space in which we could sit and understand the breadth of work we were doing and its development. It's not on purpose, but that wall is quite varied in its age. Some of those projects up there are from the beginning, like the Tate Games. We used to do a lot of games for the team at the Tate, educational kids games.
Came up with a lovely idea of reclaiming tables, so we just used the bottom of the tables and then a laminated top that they made.
The bookshelf is, I think it's most of our publications. I mean, they just come in and then we kind of move things around and shift things around. One of the bigger projects that we're working on at the moment is Bauhaus. We're working with Commodore Gork, an architect, on that exhibition. It's a very exciting commission, quite intimidating as a commission, because obviously the Bauhaus has such a big, strong history. With that, you're battling with the idea of the Bauhaus's own design as well as you don't really want to go near particularly what everyone else has done for the Bauhaus since. It's very saturated, there's lots of books, there's been many exhibitions. So, I mean, it's very challenging, and we love that. And there's, you know, we know a lot about the Bauhaus. It was a huge part of our design education, and it's really lovely to have an opportunity to actually put on a show. Bauhaus Art is Life is a show that we're midway through, at the early stages of it really. We got commissioned to do the exhibition design as well as the publication.
Looking into the Bauhaus, which is, as mentioned previously, a very saturated market with books, previous exhibitions that have gone on. The problem we were facing was how to not repeat this, how to not pastiche, the whole feeling of this.
This is the kind of logo type that is going to be in the entrance of the exhibition. It's informed by a typeface called Bau. It is actually the workhorse typeface of the Bauhaus.
With the object labels, you can see down here, they are very justified text. The Bauhaus did not use left-ranged. It was kind of, it's going to be quite hard to typeset with all the long words of the people's names, Kandinsky and such.
Joseph Albus and many other people at the Bauhaus design their own typefaces. But what we really enjoyed is the fact that we weren't using a typeface they designed. We were using a typeface that they used in the letterpress studio, that they used for sort of body text and headlines when they didn't have the facilities to design the typeface themselves. So for our object labels, which we've done samples of, they are going to be edged in a colour, coordinated to the colour theory of the Bauhaus. So each room will have a specific wall colour, and then each object label will be protruding from the wall, so you create a shadow gap. And then from the side and from the front, you'll be able to see a glimpse of colour. And that goes through onto all extended wall labels as well as larger section panels.
The Bauhaus mostly used justified text, which we're hoping to reflect in the object labels, which makes typesetting quite difficult. When it comes down to it, there's going to be 420 in the entire show, which is probably going to take a week or so. With the actual text itself, we wanted to reflect on Herbert Bayer's principles, using only lowercase, no capitals.
No, print's not dead. I mean, print's our main passion, it's our big passion, but things are changing. We do a lot of brand identities now. And it's quite interesting how those brand identities come about, because they're often through what we do. For example, we've just done the identity for Daunt Books, a small independent chain of bookshops in London, and they're starting up a publishing arm. Again, it's about publications, but really we weren't designing the publications, we were doing the identity of it.
When we're working on a brand identity, for example, like the Hepworth, I mean, with every project we're learning so many new skills. We never expected that we'd be sandblasting letters that were like 2 meters high on a building, and you kind of work with some engineers to find out a bit more about that. And I love learning more with each project, taking it outside of print, definitely.
Well, obviously every time someone new comes into the studio, it brings a new arm into what we do. Me and Emma didn't start the business off to it always just be me and her, and it's most of the reason why we called ourselves a practice for everyday life. We didn't want to call ourselves by our names, or in a way we wanted to hide behind the company. I mean, I don't think most people really know who we are as such, as people. It's more what the company does in terms of its output.
Our website at some point was very much about the print-based work, so the design just came out of a point at which we were working at that time. So all of the images on the site are to scale from print, so it's very sort of object-based in that sense. But people really understand them kind of like book covers or invitations, and I guess now as we're moving to much broader based work, more of a multidisciplinary design, we just didn't feel that it reflected that enough. People people just didn't realise that we did any work that was beyond publications. So we thought, yeah, no, now's the time we should kind of rethink it slightly.
The big key idea behind our new website is actually art directing a photo shoot of our own projects. So we work with 3 very established photographers to come in and shoot our work.
I still haven't seen enough.
Leonardo shot postmodernism for us, and he shot 5 key shots. The brief to him was to not dwell on what we had done for the show, like the specifics. Like, it wasn't a documentation of our work, it was more than that. It was the atmosphere of the exhibition, everything that our work contributes to making. Going through the other campaign shots, another one was Tristram Shandy, which is a book that we produced, a hugely intensive research project for us. So we went to shoot it again, to document it for ourselves. We put it back into Lawrence Stone's home, Shandy Hall in Yorkshire. So there's lots of his ephemera around, of his objects and that he owned, and a pipe he smoked. So we shot the book on the table in which he kind of wrote the book. The last project that we've really made a big deal on the website is the Hepworth Museum, which we did the brand identity for. Again, we took up a photographer who doesn't usually shoot architecture. He's a brilliant still life photographer. So these are the things that you really see. And then the most important thing we did was very simply put all of our other 8 years worth of work into our client list. You just click onto clients, and you actually get the whole breadth of what we've done with that client. We're now working with the V&A. We've just done the postmodernism exhibition that's up, both the exhibition design and the book. And now we're moving on to another project with them. We're doing a publication for, there's a show opening in May called British Design, and we're doing the publication for that. That's a long title, 21 Designers in the 21st Century.
We want to stay small because that's part of the character of our studio and part of how we work, and I think it enables us to have a very sort of close contact still with the people that we work with as well. So with clients, I think that's something that we enjoy and they enjoy, is to kind of work with a smaller studio. Over the 8 years, we now do everything, whereas at the beginning a lot of our work was orientated around print. We've done many websites, and yeah, it is a one-stop shop. And that's part of the process really, that we do the whole integral package.
Divide your life into nights, each night a slice. It's time to go, it's time to go. Outside the cold is waiting.